Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Nintendo Review Podcast. And I moaned last week we didn't have a title, and this title, I don't even understand what it means. Switch on the best.
It was a reference to switch on, as in switch on your lights, and begins as this is going to be the best of the year.
Oh, okay.
Just a play on words that I'm going to delete at the end and change. Now you picked on me.
Well, I don't even know what that means. But yeah, as always, I'm with Greg and Lee. Greg, are you embracing the Christmas spirit? Are you cheering up? Are you positive?
Positive with a little hint of just being generally unwell.
Oh, that's not good.
Like, fighting through it. It's all good.
Is it diseased children?
Not yet.
Oh, no, okay. I mean, that's what happens with us. Like, kids go to nursery, come back filled with disease, and you're like, oh, great.
You got to get your kids back now, Greg. You got to give it to them, okay?
Yeah, Greg's the diseased one. How are you, Lee?
I'm well. I haven't had a cold for a while, and surprise, as an English teacher, I normally get a lot of colds, so I'm feeling good.
Okay, awesome, good. Well, today we're going to chat about something very exciting. We're going to be chatting about our top games of the year, and it's that positive. Greg declared that he struggled to even get to 10, but we'll see. We'll see when we get there. But first, we're going to chat about the news.
Katamari, Damacy.
So I'm just going to reel off some new games that have been announced. Well, I'll say new. I actually don't think any of them are actually new, but they're new for the Switch. So the first game is Graphite Lab. I've just announced that they're releasing Hive Jump on January the 11th. That's it came out for the Wii U. I played it. It's a decent game. Did any of you play it?
I didn't, and this is one I was really looking forward to. It was only because it was right at the end of the Wii U's lifespan that I didn't pick it up. It's got that kind of look and feel as if kind of like a Turrican kind of game, you know, run and gun, a bit of Contra, a bit of that, but with 4-player, only local, unfortunately, with procedurally generated levels. It looks great, right up my alley.
Yeah, but it'll be it's $9.99, but so that'll be $7.99, maybe $6.99.
£8.
So I think
maximum.
that's decent. I'm guessing you switched off at procedural levels, Greg.
Switch me back on, please.
Switch on the best.
I also I don't even recall Hive Jump. Like, I don't even remember it coming out on the Wii U or anything.
Okay, yeah, it's good. It's decent. It's good. It's good fun. And it's good fun. And for that price, I think it's always good. But January's stacking up for us as well. Obviously, we chatted about Gunman Clive last week. That's now confirmed to be January the 17th. And I said, I don't know if you remember, but I was saying if it's a decent price, because I know there's only a few quid each on the Wii U, then it's well worth it. And they've just announced that it's $4.99, and that's dollars and euros. So it could be $4.89 in pounds. That is a bargain. I said I probably won't pick them up. For that price, I am actually quite tempted to pick them up. Greg, me and Lee raved about them. Well, raves maybe a bit over the top, but we said that they were really great, quick games. Are you tempted?
Well, you raved about it enough that I went to check it out on YouTube very briefly. And I was mentioning to Lee just before the podcast that there was a wee bit of a Donkey Kong Country minecart section.
Yeah.
And I said that kind of made me just want to play Donkey Kong Country. But I might give them a go at that price. Yeah,
can't go wrong, even if it's rubbish. But they're not. Anyway, they're really good fun.
Very solid.
I think that's well worth it. Another game for January that was confirmed was we knew Outrun on the Sega Ages line was coming out in the new year. They've confirmed that it's January the 10th. I said I was definitely going to buy it. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I might do. I think it's a great game, but I don't know. I've got it on 3DS set. I don't know how I feel about that. And on the Sega Ages front, Sega have also announced 2 Puyo Puyo games. Puyo Puyo's on a bit of a revival. I mean, obviously there's like Tetris versus Puyo Puyo, which is an incredible game. And then they announced the Puyo Puyo Online, is it called?
The competitive one? Esports Online or something like that, isn't it? Yes, yeah.
And then they've announced...
That's not out yet, is it? That's on its way to Japan sometime.
Yeah, it's coming out soon. And then they've announced these 2 Puyo Puyo games for the Sega Ages line. The Puyo Puyo 2, I think it's the arcade version. I think they might be both the arcade versions.
Both arcade versions, and they're going to feature online multiplayer support.
This is great. Excellent. We've mentioned this before, though, on the sort of Neo Geo range. Why release 2 back-to-back? Why not just say, we're releasing Puyo Puyo, and then in 6 months' time, here's Puyo Puyo 2? Who's going to buy both? You're going to buy the best one, surely.
They might they haven't got dates or anything. They might separate them between other Sega Ages that come in, because they don't tend to release Sega Ages titles 4 at a go. They tend to be on a weekly kind of basis. So they might separate them that way. But yeah, to even mention that both of them are coming at the same time is kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the thing that's put me off getting Windjammers, actually, because they announced the second one's coming as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I might just wait to see what's happening with that one first.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I will say Windjammers is amazing, and it's, what is it, a tenner? It's almost like you'll get, I mean, it's worth it for a tenner, and then if the sequel's even better, then, but I kind of understand it with, not to repeat ourselves every single week, but we have far too much to play. But Windjammers is so good, and if they can develop it and make a better sequel, that is really exciting, because Windjammers is good as it is. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. That's a good point. I kind of forgot about that. That's quite an exciting game for 2019.
Yeah.
Did they say when? Was it just broadly coming out next year, or did they give
it broadly? But I can't remember if they said like spring or summer. They give a broad date, but 2019 definitely.
Yeah, so that's good. Does Windjammers interest you at all, Lee? Well, you've not really kind of chipped in on that front.
Yeah, it does, and it's got that kind of vibe as well. Of do you remember Speedball 2 on the Commodore Amiga? Yeah, it's got that kind of anyway, that kind of vibe to it. So yeah, it does. But like Greg, I'm waiting to see what happens with the second one. It's the same with that Sega Ages Outrun as well. You were just surmising about it, Darren. It's like I'm going to hold off on that as well to see if like Horizon Chase Turbo ever gets a reduction in price, and that maybe the more modern one would be a better pickup.
Yeah. Although the price difference is quite substantial, isn't it? So,
yeah.
But whatever. Yeah, I've just checked. They didn't say. They just said 2019 it's coming out.
Cool.
Nothing more than that, but it's good. So I'm very excited about that. So any more games coming out? Maybe. So obviously, No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again is coming out, another game in January, along with Mario. So pretty big month, really. And obviously, he's on the PR trail with that. And he was asking about porting. Obviously, No More Heroes makes a lot of sense, bringing No More Heroes 1 and 2 over after Travis Strikes Again, maybe in the build-up to 3. We'll get onto that again in a second after this. But in a sense, any more of your old games? And he said No More Heroes 1 and 2 is the sort of primary priorities. But he also mentioned Killer 7, which is, you mentioned this as well, Greg, a few times, that you want mind Killer 7. It was one of your reveals when you said No More Heroes 1, 2, 3 announced, Travis Strikes Again and Killer 7. So he didn't say it's definitely happening. He just said it, he actually said the IP is currently shared between Grasshopper Manufacturing and Marvelous. So we're talking about how that's possible, although that may have been about No More Heroes 1 and 2, actually. I don't know if
that was about No More Heroes 1 and 2. It's like it's shared, the IP is shared between Grasshopper and Marvelous. Okay, but it's only 2 people. Why wouldn't Marvelous want it to be on the Switch as well?
Exactly. Yeah. But is Killer 7 not part of the same gang?
It's obviously Suda51's Grasshopper Manufacturer, but I don't know if Marvelous were the publishers. I'm not too sure.
Don't know.
I'm not too sure either, but I do know, I think Killer 7 was recently released again on was it Steam or something? Or maybe it's not quite out yet, but I know they were re-releasing the game again.
So no excuses, basically, is what you're saying.
It says that the publisher was Capcom for Killer 7, that is.
Yeah, of course, yeah. No excuses.
Yeah. No. You've never played Killer 7 before then, I take it, Darren?
No, I have played Killer 7. I've got it.
I haven't.
So why should Lee be excited about it if it gets announced for Switch, Greg?
For me, it's such a distinctive game. Like, I still don't think there's anything out there that plays like it or feels like it. It's just so unique, and like I just loved kind of, I suppose, how dark it was, and just the way it played out, and like switching between all the different like personalities and stuff. I thought it was a really good game. Yeah,
it is great. It came out in November this year on Steam. So good one. So yeah, that could be good. That could be good. But as long with this, obviously he said he had a huge announcement, and I think it was borderline shin and an out of balance leveled announcement. Personally, he basically said, I've got an outline for No More Heroes 3, so if Travis Strikes Again sells really well, then we'll do it. Oh, great.
Blackmail, isn't it?
He's probably had an outline for it for 10 years since since the sequel came out, but so it wasn't huge news at all. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If a No More Heroes game sells really well, then you're going to do another one.
Well, surely it would be better if 1 or 2 sold really well before we get 3. Travis Strikes Again being a something often on not even a proper game by the looks of it, because they have shown more of it, and your concern, Darren, was that it was too much hack and slash. It was also Greg's concern, and it looks like it is too much hack and slash.
Yeah, because we were saying that, I think and that each game was going to be different, but it's not at all. So that is a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, the presentation happens tomorrow, from what I can see. So we're still waiting for the actual.
So that wasn't a huge news. Oh, Lee,
you're welcome.
made me look silly.
So that was an interview with somebody else.
No, that's good. Okay, so we're still possibility of something huge. Maybe Killer 7 will just actually get announced.
Shadow dropped out tomorrow.
If it's out on Steam, it wouldn't be that bonkers.
That'd be
It wouldn't
brilliant.
be that bonkers. Would you buy it straight away, Greg?
Yes.
Like
I only played it again recently. I've been through it 2 or 3 times now, and the last time I played it was probably just a couple of years ago. But like, I'm itching to play it again. It's probably one of my top 10 GameCube games.
Amazing.
It's very stylish looking, that's for sure. But there was invisible enemies. Is that right?
Kind
Not
of.
quite, but-
They're there, and you do like a wee sort of like a scan of a thing, and that sort of brings them up, and then you can like shoot them in their weak points and stuff.
Yeah. So we'll see what that big news is. He also mentioned that he really wants an amiibo.
And what an amiibo he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, I don't want Travis Touchdown holding the Beam Katana amiibo. I want the Travis Touchdown saving a game, which, as we know, is sitting on the toilet amiibo. Great.
Yeah. Which one would you prefer? Him iconic pose holding his beam katana, or him having a...
Why not both?
Oh, I just want to say that, Greg. Beam Katana.
That could be his final smash if he was in Smash Bros.
Oh, imagine that's the big announcement. He's in Smash.
I'd like that. I think he'd be a great character.
I think he's fun.
I think it'd be a good fit, and like I generally like the fighters that have like swords or weapons or whatever, so it'd probably be one that I would go for.
Yeah, I think it's good. A couple of more bits of news before we get onto a big sales blitz. I don't know how relevant this is to us really, but Mario Kart Arcade has just announced that they're going to bring in Lakutu and also some new courses. They've called them Banana Labyrinth and DK Jungle. I don't know if that's like a port from any of the console DK Jungles. So I think this is really good. Have any of you played Mario Kart Arcade?
Yes, we haven't got the 4 on the news. I put the picture of the 4-seat setup. We have a 2-seat setup in one of the arcades near our house, you know. And I played the Mario Arcade GP DX, the one. So I'd be interested to try it out again. No?
Give it a go. Yeah, I've given it a go, but only once. But again, that's a 2-seat setup. I thought it was really good. I was just like, that's easy DLC for Mario Kart 8, isn't it? Bring the arcade tracks over.
Yeah, definitely. And the VR ones that they were doing as well. Just drop them all in.
Most people haven't played those games. I haven't played them. So but I think it's great content, but we'll see. Or port the game. Bring Mario Kart Arcade over.
Yeah, and bring them all over, because there's been a series of them, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There's been this is the third one, if I'm at least the second one anyway. Say there's 3 of them, you can bring them all over.
Yeah, so it should be good. And the last bit of news is, I don't know if you've heard about this, but basically the bottom line is Nintendo are getting sued for their pre-order policy of you pre-ordering and not being able to cancel that pre-order. I thought this was the same on anything you pre-ordered personally. I didn't know it was a Nintendo exclusive thing. Can you pre-order on, say, Xbox and then cancel beforehand?
Don't know. How about PS4, Greg? Have you ever pre-ordered anything on PS4 and then cancelled?
Nope, I have no idea. Sorry.
Anyway, the German Consumer Protection Authority is taking Nintendo to court in the next 4 weeks, and they're going to be looking into whether or not it is illegal that you can't return something, which obviously you can if it was a physical purchase. This is only good for us consumers at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, they should. Like, I don't know the platform, but obviously Apple. I buy a lot through Apple films and stuff like that, and I know you can basically say, no, I didn't mean to buy this, or I didn't want to buy this, and they refund you your money back, no questions asked. You don't even, you can just do it through your account and stuff. But I don't know about other platforms. Nintendo has said that they're trying to get around it by saying, well, you actually download the whole game before it. And it's like, okay, but I can't play it.
But I want to return the whole game. Thank you very much. I don't want to return part of it.
We'll see. I mean, what will happen is Germany, it will go through the European courts, and it'll be like, okay, yeah, you're allowed to return them. And everyone will be like, great, we can buy games and we can return them if we don't want them. And then UK will leave Europe and we'll still be stuck with them. Nothing we can do about it. Cool. But so next little bit on the news is just chatting about sales, because obviously I'm sure a lot of people have seen the sales come out. But first, before we get onto the amazing Smash sales, Arena of Valor, the MOBA, massive in China. they've announced that they've downloaded, similar to Warframe last week, they've announced that it's been downloaded 1 million times, which I think is really impressive. Weirdly, I know I said last week, it doesn't really matter that Warframe has been downloaded 1 million times because who's actually playing it. For some reason, I think this Arena of Valor one is a bit more impressive because I think people would only download it if they want to play it. But Warframe is a bigger name, a bigger game, and so I sort of feel as if this is a bit more telling. But they said that the United States is the largest contributing territory to the milestone, marking an undeniable success for the title in the West, which for them I think is great because they're massive in China. There was just like, this is an opportunity to spread out to the West. Clearly been successful. For Nintendo, I presume they wanted the other way, where this game is massive in China. Can this increase Switch sales in China? And obviously we don't know how that's gone. I know China's a massively problematic territory, but I don't know the details in all honesty. Do any of you know anything? Because obviously piracy is massive. Sometimes they're allowed to sell it, then things get taken off the market and things are allowed back. Is the Switch actively available in China? Do you guys know anything about it?
It's actively available in the Asia Pacific region. So in Taiwan now, they're running Nintendo through the Hong Kong department, but the Hong Kong department is obviously mainland China. So they're doing something in China. So when they localize the actual language, they localize it into the traditional Mandarin, which is still enforced in Taiwan, and the simple Mandarin, which is in China. So they do both languages. Don't know whether they're selling it as an official product in China, but it's definitely getting in there, and the games have got their language support as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it'd just be nice to see kind of like, how it's doing that. I mean, everybody wants to kind of break into China. It's it's the biggest kind of market in the world now. So so that's good news. And the Switch sold another over 280,000 units in Japan in a week, which is staggering. Thank you, Smash Brothers. And now it has reached over 6 million units, which is bonkers in little over 18 months, and it has officially outsold the PlayStation Vita. And the PlayStation Vita was a success in Japan. It was a success for Sony, and it's overtaken it in 18 months.
And the PlayStation is massive in Taiwan. PlayStation 4, everybody's playing PlayStation 4, and PlayStation PSP as well was massive over here. The DS was just there, but PSP was just huge. It's the only territory I've ever seen anybody. And Vita has been massive as well, especially with Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter games, yeah. It's been big, but you get a feeling now things are changing. Obviously, PS Vita is not producing many more games and it's on the way out. Switch is starting to make that inroads now into the market here, which is quite nice to see.
Yeah, really good. Are you impressed, Greg? Is this put you in awe?
I am impressed for a change.
But over 6 million, considering the Wii U sold 11 million global in its lifetime, 6 in just Japan.
It's funny how things can just switch so quickly.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. I'm not that clever.
Yeah, it is mad, isn't it? Like the turnaround from the Wii U to the Switch is just unbelievable. But we're gonna go into that a little bit further because Nintendo announced kind of some Smash Brothers figures. Obviously, last week we knew that it sold 1.3 million in the first 3 days in Japan. And then in America, they announced that it sold over 3 million in the first just over 11 days.
Yeah.
In America alone. And Europe, they didn't give a figure for Europe. They just what they give them some really big statements. Basically, the best-selling Nintendo home console game of all time,
which is amazing,
isn't it?
Yes, but you think of the SNES and NES games. It's just
Wii.
Amazing. Yeah, the Wii stuff as well. Yeah, I'm shocked, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. I wish they put a figure on it, but that is undeniably an incredible feat. It was quite telling that they said home consoles. I wonder what the best-selling sort of handheld game is. Probably, yeah, I don't know. But it is. I think it's unbelievable. And we all gave predictions a few weeks ago. Do you remember?
Is this for the total Switch units, you mean? Or for Smash?
No,
the Smash
not that.
ones.
Smash.
Okay.
I think Greg said 3 million.
I said 5?
4.
Or 4.
I think you said 4, didn't you? And I think I said 5 or 6, something like that. It's definitely going to be I think we all know. But to be honest, I mean, I don't know. It is really, really, really impressive. So we're looking at it sold 4.5 million pretty much in Japan and America alone. So you're going to be looking at 6 or 7 million within a week or two, and it's going to keep selling as well and keep selling. So this is good, and obviously it's going to have a massive impact on hardware sales as well. So I think that is amazing. They also give a little figure in America. So they've sold 8.7 million units sold in America
to date.
And to date, which is mad because you know how big America is, and it's not loads more than Japan, actually, is it? That just shows that how mental it is in Japan. But it is officially the fastest selling console this generation. So basically, Xbox, it's basically outpaced PlayStation 4.
Which I expected it to. You know, they were kind of crisscrossing all the way from the first 10 months. and then you had to take into consideration the kind of lag of 6 months because when the PlayStation was released compared to the Switch. And it's like, it's coming up to Christmas time, Switch is going to overtake it. You never know if it'll drop back the other way as the time changes. But no, it's great news.
Yeah, exactly.
When you say expected it, presumably that's with it having seen how it's went over the first year or so.
10 months,
before the Switch came out, I don't think anybody could have predicted that it was going to do
absolutely
as well
not
as it has done.
No, exactly. Yeah, if they said, it's going to sell faster than the PlayStation 4, we'd be like, okay. But so I think ultimately it's amazing news, and it does creep into the continuing discussion. It's going to be great in March or April when we find out how many it's actually sold. But you do think how successful Pokemon was and how unbelievably successful Smash Brothers is. That 20 million is looking pretty good, isn't it? Greg, are you starting to believe?
The release of Metroid Prime Trilogy is going to push it over the edge, isn't it?
I was not joking. I genuinely believe Mario Brothers is probably. I reckon it's going to be bigger than people think it will be, because New Super Mario Brothers 2D Mario is a big selling game, and obviously hardly anybody played the Wii U one. So I think the Mario in January is probably going to do really well as well. But we'll see. What was quite interesting though with the Pokemon news is they said so Let's Go Pokemon and Eevee is the second highest in the franchise's history. And I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. So it only came behind one of the mainline Pokemon games. Then I carried on reading, and the top one is Pokemon Stadium.
No. How?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Actually, do you know what it could be?
Console.
Home console.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're still talking about home console there, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe it's a tag along from that. That makes much more sense. And then actually, it's not that impressive.
No, because what mainline games come on home console?
Yeah, so it's all good news. I think it's great, and ultimately it just keeps, because all we want, although I'm beginning to want it less and less, but all we want is a vibrant platform where we get loads and loads and loads of games. That's ultimately that. It sells 100 million. It doesn't really affect us that much. The only way it affects us is if it means third parties give it more games and Nintendo support it better. Ultimately, that's the end goal. But now I'm less desperate for more games because there are too many. But that's good. So good sales. And now we're going to very quickly talk about what we've been playing before we get to the top 10s.
Katamari Damacy. Katamari Damacy.
So I think the first game we should all chat about is Katamari Damacy.
Do you know how I say it now? Do you remember that level 5 game? It was called Weapon Shop de Omasse. And I can't say that without... Did you ever play that game?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Yeah, and when you load it up, it's got that burly blacksmith going, Weapon Shop de Omasse. And that's... whenever I see Katamari Damacy, now in my head it's going, Katamari Damacy. And I just can't say it without
Is that where you got your... Is that where you got your podcast extras from?
It's going to go in there.
So I think there's going to be... let's see. Greg, let's start with you. You played it first. You bitched about it. So bring it on.
Just to be clear, we're all talking about the demo here, not the actual full release.
Yeah.
Now, Katamari Damacy or whatever you want to say it, it does have a bit of a cult following. It's got a wee bit of a reputation of being a great game, and this is a re-release of the very first one, I believe, on the PS2.
Yeah.
So I think I mentioned before that I'd played it very, very briefly, a 360 version. I'm not even sure what it was called, but I don't really remember. I played it for about 5 minutes, didn't really get on with it, so I thought I'll give the demo a go, and didn't really get on with it either. The controls are really awkward. I'm sure you guys would agree with that, probably. They're not.
Yeah, and until I played it the second time, and they're still really awkward. But what I found is that it's like driving a tank. So you use both analog sticks, and then if you push forward on both analog sticks, you move forward, which is one really confusing, first of all, because you're standing there pushing forward and you start circling the actual ball you're pushing, which is, it took me like 2 minutes to realize how to go forward. And then if you pull both sticks backwards, you move backwards. But if you think of a tank with two separate treads, if you push the left stick forward and the right stick back, you'll start circling to the right, and then the reverse, vice versa. Right stick up, left stick down, you'll turn left. And it just took me ages to work that out, And even when I worked it out, it's still a mess. The controls are.
It's one of those things. I'm sure you probably will get used to it after a while, and I think they're supposed to be slightly old, because if it didn't have those, it would quite possibly it'd be maybe too easy just to play it, because basically the game revolves around you're just picking stuff up, and you can only pick your ball is a certain size, and you can only pick up stuff that's smaller than your ball. I think that's how it works. So the more you build up, the bigger the stuff is that you can pick up. Generally, that premise, I kind of, even in just like the short 10-minute demo or whatever it is, I kind of found it boring.
It was boring. So I was going to say something slightly more positive, but I completely agree, Greg, that you're just starting to pick up small things, and you hit something big, you'll drop some of the small things. So you're constantly reverting, and then as your ball gets bigger and bigger, then you can pick up bigger things, and is that it? That's it. Yeah. And yes, I can go under the table and I can see the human's legs and all that, but the gameplay itself would get, people say, oh, no, the demo's a bad demo. It's just the gameplay itself would, I think, it bored me just in the demo itself. So playing a whole game of it, they can forget it. But I love the irreverency and the tongue-in-cheek and the kind of Monty Python-esque nature of the visuals. The opening music and the visuals that go with it are just, it blew me away. It's like, this is going to be the best game ever. And
I remember you sending a message says before you played it, just after the intro, and like I said, it sets the bar too high.
Well, I liked it.
Why?
Well, I guess I'm not a flid and I know how to control it. I think the controls are clumsy, but I think they're supposed to be clumsy. And, because in my mind, although it did take me a few seconds to figure it out. But it was almost like each... Have any of you played Octodad?
No.
I played the Human Fall Flat, which is very similar, yeah.
Sort of, it's not exactly the same, but it's sort of, like, in a way, you're controlling the little character, and then each hand is sort of a stick. And when you start thinking of it like that, you begin to do it. And it is difficult, but like you say, it would be too easy if it wasn't like that. But I guess, it's a very short demo. I didn't get an amazing sense of it, but I can sort of see how it could be quite fun, because I know it scales up massively, and that it becomes much more puzzle orientated. So in terms of like, okay, I need to get to a certain size to be able to go somewhere else and find different areas, so it's not just rolling around picking stuff up. So it does become a little bit more involved.
That's what I needed to see. I needed to see this puzzle element and how they implement it, and not to show it in a demo. But
eventually it gets massive. Like you're rolling up buildings and stuff like that, and so I think the kind of bonkers nature of it appeals to me. So it didn't blow me away, but I was like, this is fine. This is quite fun, and I could sort of see how it could be fun if they started involving a few more tricks to it, if that makes sense. So you're not just rolling around, there's like purpose to it, or there's different things you need to do with the balls and things like that. So it's a game that I'll pick up if the backlog ever dies down, or it's on a really 50% off or something.
And we've got a good deal actually on the European eShop. It's like UK eShop. It's $15.99 because it's only eShop digital purchase. In America they got it on physical as well. So on the eShop they're selling it for $30.
Wow.
Have that one, America.
Yeah, that's rare.
Yeah.
But even what I've seen, like the impressions of the full game and stuff, like they would say that's like the $30 is quite possibly worth it. Like I've seen really good things about the full game. So it's a tricky one, because like you don't want to entirely base your impressions off the demo, because I do think it was a really weak demo, but I don't know how I feel about picking the game up at the moment.
I won't be.
Yeah, especially with everything else to play and stuff like that. But if it was a bit of a bargain, could you be tempted by it, or would you maybe want somebody to actually buy it first and then be like, okay?
It's one of them. Like I know we're already getting it cheaper than US, but if it does go on sale at some point, it might be worth giving it a go to see what some more of the game is like, just instead of just that really bland demo. I wouldn't completely rule it out.
Okay, fair enough. Good.
And then I went online then on the YouTube because I loved the first piece of music. I was just telling Greg, and I fell into a black hole of Katamari Damacy music, which I'm going to append to the end of this podcast. We'll have 3 tracks of pure bonkers. Na 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 na. Okay.
Why do you love it?
It's catchy.
It's Katamari. So we've all been playing the demo, but what we've also been playing full games. So Lee, you reviewed a game for the site, Everspace. Tell us what you thought.
I loved it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, its price is maybe a little bit too much for some to manage. It's $31.99 on the eShop, UK pounds, but it's built along the Unreal Engine 4. And it's basically an action focused. It can be as action focused as you want it to be. There's a lot of collecting as well if you want it to be. It's a game how you want it to be, but it's a single player only space shooter. And in Greg's favourite types of games, it's roguelike, as if everything isn't these days. So you start a game in your spaceship and you're flying through the void of space, and there's these little arenas basically of play with jump warps between each area. And you can warp anytime you want as long as you've got fuel. So each arena, I'm going to call them, you basically got to survive for as long as you can. You'll be attacked by enemies. You can collect upgrades in the form of money, blueprints, decals for your ship, weapons for your ship, usable resources to repair your ship if it ever gets damaged. And before dying, and then you have to, if you do die, you're going to have to start right back to the beginning and repeat over and over again. So this kind of element of building yourself up slowly comes in the form of picking up money and blueprints. So after just one run, which I'll talk more about, but after one run, you get the opportunity to spend your money on extra things like make your ship faster, make your shield stronger, make your weapon stronger, all that kind of stuff. Which it's a very, very, very slow, cumbersome process. You can maybe on your first couple of runs you'll just get a couple of 100 credits, and all you can do is upgrade one thing on your ship, and it's a tiny percentage of an upgrade. It'll give you the upgrade. It'll go like, your speed is this fast, 192 meters per second. You can now go 195 meters per second. It's not noticeable. So if I played my ship on the first run and the second run slightly upgraded, I couldn't notice anything. But after 30 runs, your ship is significantly better. It's one of these things you need to keep on plugging away at. And there's this balance between, like I said, these permanent upgrades through spending money and your temporary upgrades, which will affect only the current run you're on at the moment. Things like upgrading your weapon and firepower, upgrading, not your speed, but upgrading your tractor beam so you can suck in more resources. How do you get resources? You shoot asteroids, they drop things like gas. They shoot another asteroid, it drops things like ore. You can shoot enemies down, they'll drop things like fuel and those invaluable credits. Now, when it appeared on the indies in the summer on one of the showcases, Greg was, I was like, oh, I like a look at that. I like some sci-fi space shooters. And Greg was like, oh, it looks slow. When you get to grips with it, there's a lot of buttons going on. It takes you 3 or 4 runs before you start to feel comfortable with the movement of the ship as well. Your left stick moves you, strafes you up, down, left, right, and then your right stick is to look around, but then you accelerates on the ZL. It does feel a little slow on the normal accelerator, but it's the perfect speed for when you're approaching not an enemy, but like a derelict space station, something that's been blown to smithereens and there's resources inside. If you were any faster, you'd be crashing into things all the time. So it's tuned it to the right speed so you can get through things safely and accurately. And there's also a boost button then, which another thing Greg hates is you click the L stick in and hold it down and you get you travel along 4 times as fast as your normal speed to cover greater distance. Everything is customizable. You press the minus button. Say you've just had a fight with somebody, which is quite entertaining actually. The HD rumble in it makes you feel every single explosion. The explosions look beautiful. The textures are beautiful. Everything looks great in this game. So if you sustain damage, it could just be to your hull, which is just your shield. So you can use your resources that you've collected to fix your your hull, or they could actually, they could take a lucky shot and hit your life support machine, and then you've got a countdown. A countdown comes on, and your ship is handling a bit wonky, and it all feels, anything that breaks, it feels like, it's given a name like an inertia dampener. Oh, okay, that's going to affect my movement, and it does, and it affects it in the correct way. It's really, yes, it's an action shooter, but there's also those sim elements to it that make you want to get back into that ship one more time. I really enjoyed myself with it. You can repair your ship on the fly in the menu. It's quite easy. Dog fighting is really satisfying, difficult at first, but you start to learn your ranges of your weapons. You'll upgrade your weapons, and a weapon before you could shoot 2,000 meters, and then you'll upgrade it to 2,500. So it means you can keep the enemies a slightly bit further away and get a couple of shots in before they get near you. Frame rate is smooth, looks great. Downside, story. The story cutscenes are just still images. They don't look particularly nice. They're just like cartoon drawings. I suppose it's supposed to be a bit cloudy because you're this amnesia sufferer. But when you're in your ship, then your AI in your ship is telling you stories as well, and regaling you stories of things that have happened in the past, this war, and you find out that you're a clone basically. And when you die, what's obviously happening, I haven't got right to the end, but when you die, you're a new clone. You're another clone trying to remember what's happened. And the further you get in the game, the more this story opens up, but it's just, nothing to it really. It's whether or not you like sci-fi shooters and how far you want it to be a simulator and action, because this is no Star Fox, and how much persistence of collection you're going to be doing, because you're going to spend a lot of time looking for resources, and a balance between fighting and resource collecting. I reckon you spend about 20% of the time fighting, 80% resource collecting. There's a lot of slow movement, but what it does is really good.
And you enjoyed it. Well, I have Starlink, which kind of is a Star Fox game, although it sounds quite similar with the resource collecting and fighting, and I haven't played that, and I'm annoyed it's now 20 quid, and I paid 60 quid for the thing. So I don't think I'll ever play Everspace.
Not for the price it's asking as well. If it came, it's prices again, it's an eShop game. Apparently it will be coming out retail, but we don't know when or if possible. But it's got a retail price, and I don't quite think it's worth the retail price.
Okay.
50% off in the future, yes, definitely. I'd say go for it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think that one's for me either. And I have seen
so,
I have seen Starlink there for $17.99 with the ship and all, and it's like almost tempted to get it just for the R-Wing, but even then I really don't want to play this game, so
it's good from what I played, to be fair. It's good. $17.99 is a bargain for the R-Wing alone.
I still think it might drop further. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a tenner like in January.
I'm never doing it again. Never doing it again.
At which point I will buy it just for the R-Wing, and then obviously I'll give the Wii game a go, but at that price I'd probably not even care if the game's a stinker.
Good or bad. It's not a stinker. But what have you been playing, and are they stinkers?
Well, it's just a couple of Super Nintendo games that I want to give a wee brief mention to. I played this one a couple of weeks ago and haven't really had a chance to bring it up in the last couple of weeks because I've had other stuff to talk about. Yoshi Safari, I spoke about the Nintendo Scope 6 probably about 3 weeks ago now, and I ordered this because obviously I got my Scope up and running again, and I always wanted to play Yoshi Safari. But very briefly, it's just like basically you're Mario and you're sitting on Yoshi's back, and it's like in first person, and you're just like going around these maps. Like it's automatically Yoshi moves forward, and you're basically just shooting like enemies out of the sky, like wee flying Goombas or paratroopers or whatever. And from what you can beat the game, and then I think you can unlock a different higher difficulty at the end of it. But I've just played through like the first, like the normal difficulty, and I found it like really easy to play. Like I never felt in danger the whole time, and it was easy enough just to like shoot the enemies out of the sky. But even if you missed some, like most of the time you wouldn't have any damage coming your way. It was only if they like fired something at you or whatever. So basically it's kind of, in some ways it's more of like a high score you're going for, I guess. But you'll play through the levels shooting the enemies down, and occasionally there'll be like these gaps that you just have to traverse. So you just press like the cursor button on the front of the scope, and that makes Yoshi jump across the big gaps. It kind of almost seems like a pointless thing, although there was one of them where for some reason every time I was doing it I was missing the jump, and I couldn't figure out why this was happening. And it happened so many times. Like, you'd miss the jump and you'd fall into the water, and then it would put you back a wee bit, but your health would come down a wee bit, and I just could not make this jump. And it got to the point where, like, that's the only time I died throughout the whole game, where it's like I ran out of health because for some reason I could not get over this jump. And then when I started the level again, went through it, got to this jump again, I made the mistake again, and I still couldn't get over it. But thankfully, for some reason, one time it did just work for me, and I still don't know why this happened.
Is it too hard for you?
I honestly don't know what I was missing from. I don't understand why it didn't happen. But anyway, like, you'll go through the levels, and like occasionally there'll be like mini bosses in the middle. It might be like a hammer bro or something chucking hammers at you, but once you come to the end of the stage, it's like a big boss you have to fight, and it's like one of the Koopa kids or whatever, and might be like piloting this big like sort of mech sort of a thing and firing things at you. And like the boss fights are probably like the best part of the game. And the game's kind of structured in a way like it's split into, you start off with like 7 levels available to you, and you can pick whatever order you want to play them in, and you'll go through, like, the levels are pretty short, you get through them pretty quickly, and then it's like the boss fights, like the main event. But you can go through those in any order, and then once you do all those, you'll unlock, I think it's like 4 more levels. Again, you can do them in any order, and then once you do those, you unlock like the last level with like Bowser to defeat and stuff. And there's not really that much more to it than that. I always wanted to play it, and like my curiosity is kind of satisfied now. It's not a brilliant game, but it's fine to play through.
You tempted to unlock the higher difficulty level and see if that makes it more fun?
It's like whenever you beat the game, it just gives you like a controller combination to put in. I think it's like LR, XY, something like that. So I can easily just jump straight into that without having to like play through the normal difficulty again. And so I might give it a go to see if it adds a wee bit of challenge, or if like it mixes up the enemy patterns or something. I'm not sure, but I probably will give it another go at some point.
I was surprised at, after looking on YouTube and downloading some videos for you, I was surprised at how fast it is shooting. You know, it's quite a rapid fire. It doesn't hold back on the shots, does it?
Yeah, like when you're playing like the Scope 6 games, it's mostly just like
single
very
shot.
Slow pace. You're just hitting a single shot. This one here, you flick the turbo on in your scope, so you're basically just holding the fire button in, and like you've got your health bar, and then below it you've got like your bar. So whenever you're shooting, like the bar goes down. So like if you shoot for too long, then like you can't shoot for a minute or two. So you have to sort of balance out, let it like recharge or whatever. And you do get power ups that let you shoot for longer. And you also get power ups to increase your health as well. And once you get those, like, you're really not worrying about how much you're shooting and stuff, because there's like you can shoot for ages and then just take a wee breather when there's no enemies there. There's really no concern, and there was no danger. And it's probably not a game that I would like recommend you go out and like get a scope and a CRT TV or whatever and get it all set up. Like it's fine. I'm glad I played it, but like it's not one that I would like highly recommend or anything. Another game that I can't really see myself highly recommending is The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. Darren, I know, like I mentioned on Discord, I was playing it or whatever, and you said Mystical Ninja is amazing. Even the SNES one. Like, I hate being this person sometimes. And like, it is tricky, and like I sometimes think when I'm like laying into games or like being negative about games, like, oh, here Greg goes again. That's just Greg.
That's what we all think too.
But like, sometimes you have to look at it from the other perspective. Like, what's it like to be me, and like not be able to derive this enjoyment out of these games and experiences that other people are getting? It's like it's not easy.
So what didn't you like about it? I mean, did you actively hate it, or was it just like
when I was initially, I wasn't really feeling it at all. As it sort of wore on a bit, there were elements that I actually enjoyed. Basically, it's The Legend of the Mystical Ninja is like kind of split into 2 different things. There's like each level kind of starts out, it's like an overhead perspective, and you're going around, and there's like wee houses you can go in, and like there's loads of enemies floating around that you can hit with your, what even is the weapon called? It's like a staff or a flute or something. I'm not sure. And you can upgrade that, but any hit you get from an enemy, it takes your power-ups away from your item. So you can power up 3 times, and like the third power-up's like it's kind of like a yo-yo sort of thing that you sort of fire out, and it gives you like more distance than your normal wee staff. But as soon as you get hit, it kind of disappears, and the amount of enemies that kind of flood in sometimes in these overhead perspective sections of the levels, it can be so easy just to take one wee hit, and then you have to like kill a few more enemies to get the power up again and stuff. To be honest, I kind of found that quite frustrating. And all the wee houses that are and the wee areas that are dotted around and these worlds, it's like sometimes you'll walk into one and like it'll just be like a character just saying something random. Sometimes it's sort of like to give you sort of guidance on where you're supposed to be going or whatever, but sometimes it's also like they'll just say something random that's just totally like unimportant. And I got to the stage myself where it's like I can't even be bothered going into these wee houses because it's like they're not giving me anything that I need to progress. So I was basically just going through these areas just to get to like the 2D parts of the levels, and they worked like a sort of like a 2D platformer, like an action platformer, and it was those parts of the levels that I actually enjoyed a lot more, to the point where I sort of thought if the whole game was like a sort of 2D action platformer without these overhead sections, I think the whole experience would probably be a lot better. It might be a bit shorter, but it would be much more enjoyable. I will say, like in the overhead sections, like there's wee shops and stuff that you can go in and like buy like wee health things or like extra, I think it's like extra defense or stuff. But I think there's also wee games you can play, so there is like wee multiplayer games you can go in and play. I've never got to experience any of those.
Okay.
But there's other wee things. There's like quizzes and stuff. I suppose they break up the action a wee bit, but like I said, I wasn't even really bothering going into these wee places anymore, because I just wanted to get to the 2D seconds just to go through and like defeat the bosses of each level.
Can you even play Gradius?
No, I didn't play Gradius on it.
Did you not?
But I do know what's there because I heard it was there, but
Okay, yeah.
I suppose that would probably have helped a wee bit. And I can sort of imagine if I'd played The Legend of the Mystical Ninja when I was younger, maybe playing it with my brother or something, maybe exploring these places together, because you can play in co-op. But I was playing on the new 3DS just by myself. So I can sort of imagine if I was playing it back then, I'd maybe be having like a lot more fun than I maybe am now. That's just because I didn't experience it back then. And what I will say, like the bosses are pretty good. Like I quite enjoyed the boss fights. Didn't always enjoy the levels leading up to the boss fights, but the boss fights were good, and they were quite challenging at times. Definitely tested my patience a couple of times, although I got to the point where I was kind of spamming the save states again just to, because I didn't really want to find myself repeating lots of stuff again and again. But I wasn't blown away with it, and I honestly don't think I would ever bother playing the game again. But I know you really like it, Darren.
Yeah, I love it. I played it recently. I got it on the Wii U Virtual Console as well, and I played it through in co-op again. So I did play it when I was younger. So obviously I do have those memories of it, and I loved it then. And but I played it again recently in co-op, and that was really good fun. You know, I loved all the mini games. But when you say overhead, I don't know if people are confused, but you don't mean it's not bird's eye view. It's more like isometric, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like sort of like a
fight.
Yeah, that sort of viewpoint. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can like go up and down the levels as well as the sort of left and right, and then the 2D sections, which, like you said, a bit more traditional. But yeah, I just love it. It's mental. I love all the little mini games. Like you said, the bosses are great. It's pretty tricky. It's challenging, and yeah, I loved it. But maybe it's partly because I have a connection to it from when I was a kid. Have you ever played any of these games, Lee?
I only played the one on the N64, which I can't even remember the name of, Mystical Ninja starring Goldman or whatever it was called, and it was great. It was a game I only rented from I was telling Greg, from a local video rental store called Talkies in Neath when I was a kid, and I finished it in a weekend. But it was a long, grueling weekend, but I enjoyed every minute of it. It's like, you know, there's more 3D, the kind of N64 one, so it was kind of a Zelda clone in its kind of RPG makeup. But yeah, the mini games and on all the little bits and the quizzes and all that, they were all present in the N64 one as well. It was fun. Yeah,
it didn't do it for you, Greg. That's fair enough.
No, one last thing about it is, like, there were a couple of levels where it was an absolute grind for me, because when you kill enemies and like you get like wee coins from them. And you can use those coins to like as a weapon as well. I think that's probably the same in the N64 version too. You can like throw them out, and obviously your coins deplete. But there's a couple of levels where you need to buy stuff to progress in the level. So there's ones come up like, oh, you need 980 coins or whatever to to do this. So you're just having to go out into this overworld, and like the enemies are just like flooding around. So you have to kill them all and pick up all these coins just to get that thing, just to move forward. And it's like, oh, this is such a grind. So I was maybe getting like 100 coins and then just creating another save state, just because I don't want to like lose my power ups and stuff.
You said you'd never play it again. Would you in co-op?
No.
Oh god, okay, brutal. Would you try the N64 version if it came to Switch?
I've played the N64 version. I played through it probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and like like this game, I never played it back at the time, so I didn't have that like nostalgic attachment to it.
I bet it looks a bit ropey now as well, doesn't it?
It was okay, but like
it's N64,
I preferred it. I preferred it. Preferred it over the SNES version, but
sprites.
I didn't love it again. I just thought it was okay. Guess the
I've
series
just looked at the N64 version. It looks awful.
I bet you.
It's colourful.
Bet you it looks amazing.
To compare that to the SNES version is embarrassing.
I still love N64 visuals. Get out
Really,
of my
that
house.
blocky, bland, textureless.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. I love my SNES sprites, but they're both great games.
I will say, like the SNES version, like it does look pretty good.
Yeah,
it does look good.
I haven't really been playing. I've been moving house. I'm still moving boxes. I'm still living in a nightmare. So the only game I've been playing is Smash Brothers. So we chatted about it last week. All I will say is the game is still amazing. Mm-hmm. It's just it's the speed, everything about it. When people speak about Melee and Brawl was slow and Melee was fast, and I have no idea. I don't remember. I don't care. But what I will say is, after playing Wii U so recently, the speed of this, the pace of it, and the fluidity of it it's like oh, actually, I can sort of understand why maybe people do come, because it feels so much better. And I love the Wii U version, but this just feels perfect. It feels amazing, and I'm loving it, and Hugo's loving it, which is kind of great, so we can play together and stuff. The only thing that I will say is that Hugo is desperate for me and him to go through the classic mode as Diddy and Donkey Kong. And I don't have Diddy Kong. And I'm like, I don't know when I can unlock him. I don't know. So, and before, I know some people have been going, why can't I just have all the characters? And I was like, no, I love unlocking them as they go along. Mm-hmm. But I wish I could pick bloody Diddy Kong so I could shut him up about that.
Like, sometimes you wish you knew what you could do to unlock a specific character, then you would just go do it. Yeah. That would be I suppose, a nice
it'll be on
compromise.
Google, I'm sure. But it'll be out there, actually. I should look into it. But I'm just having really great fun with it. Dabbling in my world of light. Literally just usually what I do is play it until I unlock a character and then stop, and then the next time I do the same thing. But I'm just really, really enjoying it. And online it continues to be 99% perfect, which is kind of staggering. Sometimes I'm playing it and it's utter bonkers and it's just seamless, and I'm just like, how? This is amazing. And then I read like some people moaning about it, like, oh, the online is rubbish.
I've heard so many people moaning about it. IGN have had a go about it, and other places have had a go about it, and I'm like, Darren and I last week, one of the mornings, my morning, his evening, we had another go, and I think out of 6 or 7 matches, only one had a little bit of lag in it, and it was, I don't see where they must have just have a terrible Wi-Fi infrastructure in America, from what I can see.
Yeah, because like even just like not even just Smash Brothers, like generally the Switch has got a bad reputation for internet, and it's like I honestly haven't had a problem in any game I've played so far.
Yeah, the only problem I have with the Switch is the strength of the Wi-Fi signal. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing. And obviously, living here, and I've got 3 floors, and everything kind of works on the 3rd floor. It's like, oh, okay, this mesh network that I'm sorting out is maybe not needed. But when the Switch is up there, it's like 1 bar at best. So I'm like, oh, okay. So that's still a bit of a problem. But the actual game connections, I think is I think it's great. And Smash Brothers, it's a lot better than I sort of expected. I wanted it to be improved, but I didn't think it'd be pretty much flawless. So I'm just having a great time with it. I've only put just over 10 hours into it so far. I know I'm just going to keep playing it. All the modes, it's all fun to me, and I can't wait for the keep updating and stuff. Are you guys still dabbling with it? I know, Greg, you're not playing it as much as the rest of us.
What amazes me is I haven't actually played it since we spoke about it last week, because I've been wasting my time on Mystical Ninja. Like Mystical Ninja is quite short, and that's all I've really had time to play. Like my time has been really limited the last week or so. But I was sort of thinking, like, why am I playing this when Smash Brothers is there? Like I'm itching to get back to
about on the podcast.
But probably. But as soon as we're done here, I think maybe get some lunch and then then fire it up.
But it's not that you haven't had the desire to. It's just because you haven't had loads of time and you wanted to play through Mystical Ninja. It's not like, oh, don't really want to.
Yeah, no, I do really want to get into it and unlock a few more characters. Like, I'm itching to play it again.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Lee? You still loving it?
Yeah, absolutely. Still haven't done anything in the World of Light. That criticism you said last week, I don't want to unlock any characters from the World of Light, and plus me and my son have been playing together more often than not, and it's the classic mode. We've been hammering the classic mode. We've got, how many did we count last time? 26 characters now, including all the originals as well that start off.
A third?
No, whatever. Maybe more than 26. Just a bit over a third anyway.
I know you said you haven't really touched World of Light there.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. I haven't got that far in it either, but I was watching videos this week and I caught a couple of spoilers from it. And there are a couple of nice wee things from it that I think hopefully you'll enjoy. But
I've heard there's some things, particularly towards the end, which are like really great. Really, really great.
Yeah.
So
I'm
probably
looking forward to get into those.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know no spoilers yet, so keep it stum.
Yeah, so that's good. So nothing to really talk about. I've just been playing lots of Smash, and I'll continue playing lots of Smash. What I did do is I looked at my Civilization cartridge, and I was like, oh, I want to play that. I want to play it. There's too much stuff. That's fine. But yeah, awesome. But ultimately, that's all fluff. The meat of it, of today, is our best games of 2018. What was supposed to be a poor year for the Switch, relatively, compared to last year. Let's see how poor it was. Let's do it.
Katamari Damacy. Katamari Damacy.
So, our top 10 games of the year.
Woo!
I know, it's exciting. Just before we get started, rate the year out of 10 based on your top 10. Lee, what do you give it? Just from your top 10, just as a little preview. Has it been a great year, good year, average? What would you give it?
I thoroughly enjoyed playing what I've played. Has it been a great year? Could have been better, that's for sure. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, what about you, Greg?
I enjoyed the year as well, but whenever we were sort of trying to compile these lists, it was really difficult because we got quite a few ports this year, and last year we had obviously Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey to look forward to and stuff, all these fresh new games, and this year's definitely didn't hit the high points of last year, but I did have a good time. Probably, I don't know, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I've had a great year with the Switch. I've loved it. I've loved it. I've played some great games. But again, when you look at what was released I've had a great time. I'd say an 8 or 9. But in terms of the games that have been released, I think you're looking a 7. I think a 7's a reasonable shout. From Nintendo, I'd say a 6. But I think third parties and indies have stepped up, and I'd say it's like a 7. Which, but that's not kind of knocked how great of fun I'm still having with the Switch. But let's do it. Let's get started. Let's start with a 10th game. How we're going to do it is, we'll all give our 10s. We'll go around in a circle and we'll talk about why that's in our list. But if someone else has got the same game that's a bit higher, we'll hold off talking about it then, and we'll save it for wherever it's positioned highest on someone's list. I hope that makes more sense than it just sounded as it was coming out my mouth. Let's just do it. So, Greg, you can go first. What is your 10th game of the year?
Well, my 10th game sort of shows how difficult I find it to reach 10, I guess. There's no way either of you will have it in your lists, never mind higher up on the list. For number 10, I have Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Disgusting. Yeah, go on. Why? Well, I guess you were quite positive about it, so why are you so negative about it now? And, ultimately...
Well, to have it in my top 10 is not really negative. I suppose, I did enjoy it, and I, like I said, I blitzed it in, the space of a few days, and then, sold it again, because I thought, I'm kind of done with it. Obviously it's not as amazing as, a Super Mario game or whatever, and, people who grew up on the PlayStation stuff, they didn't know the joys of going through Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie. You don't even know the joys of going through Banjo-Kazooie. So, all I knew was, I suppose, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, and, to them, that was probably amazing, Not to be too condescending, but like I did have a good time going through this here, and like sometimes I kind of do feel like I wouldn't mind going through another couple of levels or two, but obviously I don't have it there again, and I've never seen the game as cheap as when I bought it earlier in the year, because I got it for £23. I've never seen it as cheap as that again, because I sort of thought, if I could see this again for maybe like 15 quid or something, like maybe I'll just pick it up again, and then I'll keep it this time, and then it's just always there.
Fair enough. But yeah, sounds good. I'll never know. But so Lee, what is your 10th game of the year?
This one might very well get higher on your list, Darren. My 10th is Into the Breach.
I'm disgusted it's so low. Yes, we'll chat about it later. I'm just going to condemn every game that's higher than it. From now on. My 10th game, this may be higher on some of your lists. I sort of didn't want to put it on the list at all, because it is a port I have played before, and I am talking about Toad.
That is indeed higher.
Okay, I won't talk about it, so I'll talk about it when it's higher on yours. That's fine. So, Lee, we're going to go to you this time. What is your 9th best game of the year?
This won't be on any of your lists. And this one I did talk about in the podcast when I reviewed it as well. It's The Swindle.
Better than Into the Breach?
I played it more. And
okay, I'm only kidding. I'm going to do that every one. I hope you realise this. Go on, talk about The Swindle.
It's talking to Greg. I think it was a podcast when only me and Greg were on. And it's basically a procedural generated level, but you get 100 attempts at stealing this thing which will stop you as a thief, and it just played so well. It was just fun. Just generally, sometimes the procedural generation of the levels didn't quite fit together, but for the most part it handled well, it played well between stealth and action, and enjoyable overall.
I listened to the podcast.
Good.
You convinced. I was like, oh, that actually sounds really great. And then weirdly, another thing that kind of big tangent here, but another thing that kind of came into my mind as I was listening to the podcast, and obviously, like Greg, you don't like sort of procedural kind of levels and stuff like that, and you were sort of saying about how you can't deal with it, like you have to do it, and then you know, like, how do you get past this section, and it's just random, you don't like the random element. And when I was listening to it, I came up with what I think is a pretty good analogy for those kind of games. They're like puzzle games.
Yeah.
Like puzzle games, in a sense, you don't know what's coming, you don't know what you're going to get. In a way, it's sort of random, but what the games do, and I think what really good sort of roguelike and procedural generated levels do, is they give you the skills to deal with what you may face randomly, if that makes sense. Like a puzzle game, like the more you play a puzzle game, you get better and better, and you figure it out, and it gives you the kind of skills to deal with what could be thrown at you. And so I was like, that's kind of what they're like.
And sometimes this throws things at you, and you think, wait there, I don't even think I can do that. So you kind of, I'll dodge, I'm not going to even go there, you know? So you've got to still be on your toes, you know? It is that kind of thing where, okay, you learn it on the fly as well. It's nice.
But cool, yeah, convinced me. My number 9, and again, it definitely won't be on yours because you've never played it, is Taiko Drum Master. What a game. I don't know if it was worth the £180 or whatever I paid for it. It's great. I love music games. I love rhythm games. I wish I could play this more. It's difficult because it's a music game and you want to play it loud. So I generally play games on my own when the kids are asleep. So it's really difficult to actually play. But I absolutely love it. If I played it more, it may have been a little bit higher. But ultimately, it is. Music games are quite simple, but I think it's great. I recommend anybody can buy it with the drum only, of course. Greg, what about you? What's your number 9?
This is one I mentioned to you guys that I'd had a potentially controversial pick in the fact that I haven't actually played this version of the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I have played this game this year. That is Luigi's Mansion.
Okay.
That obviously that came out to 3DS recently. I played the GameCube version of this year. I still absolutely love it. I haven't played the 3DS version. I'm sure it's still great as well, but I know
be better.
I know if I had it, it would be on this list here somewhere.
Do we let him have that, Lee?
Yeah, why not? It's in spirit, you know. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. It is meant to be an amazing version of it.
Yeah, and it's got to be good, isn't it? What a great game anyway.
And what I will say before we go on with the rest of the list is, like, there's big games released this year that probably been making loads of people's games of the year list, like Celeste and like Hollow Knight. I haven't played either of those yet, so like they maybe would have made it onto the list here somewhere, but since I haven't played them,
this is ours. Like for example, like Toad. Obviously, we'll chat about it later. That's better than most games on this list. I love that game. These are our personal lists. You know, it's lower for me because I played it before. So that's all. But as a game, it's amazing. So yeah. So if we haven't played, you know, we can only chat about what we've played, but it doesn't stop you, Greg. Put Celeste on there.
Wasn't it Greg that came up with the rules? You broke your own rules, Greg.
My number 8 game is Labo Vehicle Kit.
Oh, nice.
As a game itself, it's not a top 10 game, but as an experience and a Labo as a thing, Labo deserves to be in the top 10, in my opinion. I think it is a genuinely magical, amazing thing that is incredible to build and to think about, and everything it does, I think, is amazing. The games themselves aren't great, but the concept as a whole, for me, is definitely sort of like it's amazing, and it deserves recognition, and I've loved it. And the Vehicle Kit is the best game out of the 3 collections, so this is the one that made it. And I think if anybody's gonna... It's a weird one, because like the piano is probably the most magical bit of it all, but if anybody's going to pick up the Vehicle Kit, it's amazing, and the game is really good fun, and the wheel is great for Mario Kart for a bit of random fun as well. Yeah, that makes my number 8. Greg, what about you? What is your number 8?
Number 8 is Ikaruga.
Okay, awesome.
Which, again, it's a port of a game that came out years and years ago, but obviously it only came to the Switch this year, and it's probably one of the best shooters on the Switch. Yeah, really good.
My flip grip finally came, and I've been saving. I bought Ikaruga at launch, and I've been saving, you know, a batch of games, actually, vertical shooting games, and like Donkey Kong and stuff like that are in vertical mode for the flip grip. It's finally here, so I'm looking forward to getting started on Ikaruga. And if you're up for doing some high scores and you getting back into it, I'll be well up for that as well. So I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely.
So, good.
See what you got.
Not much probably. I'll give it a go. Lee, what about you? What's your 8?
Mine is one you won't have either. It's Armello, the board game that I reviewed again for the site.
Above Into the Breach?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I've got that one. I've got that one higher. Like,
oh, you've got Armello.
I'm just
joking.
I was going to.
Why did you play that? Right. It was just such a deep game board experience. It was far deeper than I thought it would ever be. The only, like when I reviewed it and talked about it on the podcast, is the only downside is that the online experience is not there. You know, I have played it online, and it's very, very difficult to get 4 players together. The weird thing about it is you can't obviously do local, which makes sense, unfortunately. It can't be local because of all the secrets you have to have, and you can't find a game online.
So it's not local. You can't find a game online, but it's still better than Into the Breach.
But it's better than Into the Breach, yes. Is that online?
Interesting.
That's not online.
It's not a multiplayer game. We'll get onto that in a minute. Awesome.
But if you got 4 mates with 4 switches, this would be really good to have.
This is like Crystal Chronicles territory of kind of getting things together, isn't it? So number 7, Greg, it's back to you. What is your number 7?
It's one that you may have a little higher, and it's probably this low down for reasons we'll probably discuss later. Super Mario Party.
I do have
that
higher.
Is my number 7 as well.
I have higher.
Oh, you have higher. Okay, we'll wait for you then, Lee. So what is your number 7 then, Lee?
Mario Tennis Aces, and I suppose someone's got that a bit higher.
Yes.
Okay.
And obviously my number 7 is Mario Party 2. So we'll wait for you, Lee. So Lee, what's your number 6?
Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. While it doesn't play as good as Doom...
Hang on a minute. Greg,
you're going to ask me.
have you not got it higher?
Number 11. I have Wolfenstein.
Okay.
A game you've not even played is better than Wolfenstein.
Okay. Greg is nodding enthusiastically.
Is it?
While it doesn't play as good an action arcade game as Doom, it's still good at what it does. Let down slightly in its stealth elements, but highly enjoyable.
Okay, awesome. That's fair enough. Was that your number 7? I'm getting lost now.
That was my number 6.
Oh, your number 6. Okay, so my number 6 is Celeste.
You did play it. Okay.
I thought someone would jump in. It's a tricky one. It is amazing. It is absolutely incredible, and you should buy it. But for me, we're getting into incredible territory now. And they are personal. Like Celeste is probably a better game in some ways, and some that are higher. But as an experience, and for me, and for what I wanted, it's surprisingly low, I guess, when you look at it. But it's obviously a platformer. People really kind of bang on about how well it deals with sort of kind of depression and anxiety and stuff, and I think it does do that really well. But for me, that detracts from what I think is amazing about it, and that is the gameplay. It is the kind of platforming of it, and the kind of design of the levels is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. It feels... I always talk about like the best game to play, to feel, is Mario. For me, there's no game that ever controls as well as Mario ever controls. And Celeste, it's completely different, but it just feels amazing to play. You feel like you've got absolute control over your character and what you're doing, and it's challenging in the best way, not in a frustrating way. But it is very difficult, and you do die a lot, but it's also got the kind of amazing, just flips you straight back in, and it's just so fun to control. I absolutely loved it, and I've got additional challenges, which I sort of gave up on when you collect these fruit. But I thought it was an amazing game, and it deserves sort of all the kind of plaudits. And it does deal with sort of like complex sort of mental issues as well, but it's way more than that, but everyone just talks about that, it feels like, and it's like, no, it's a perfect platformer as well. So Celeste number 6. What about you? What's your 6, Lee?
Greg.
Oh yeah, Greg, sorry.
My 6 is also a platformer. Probably would be higher if I played it a bit more, and if I hadn't already experienced the whole game before on Wii U. It's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Okay,
great game.
Neither of you have it higher, I guess.
No, I played it on the Wii U, but not the Switch.
Absolutely cracking platformer, and because I went through like the whole challenge of it on Wii U, I thought I'll give myself a wee bit of a treat this time. So I'm playing through as Funky Kong, so it does make it a wee bit easier in areas. But I'm really enjoying playing through as him, and I think I'm only in World 3 at the minute, so I've still got a bit of the way to go. Do absolutely love the game, but it's just that fact that I have played it before. It's just that sort of been like, oh, I've got all our stuff to play at the minute. I'll eventually get to it. So it's a cracker.
Awesome. I mean, I may as well kind of mention it now briefly. It was in my honourable mentions. Played it a little bit, but I haven't finished it. And I've played it before. It's probably the best game of the year in on a game basis. I think it's a masterpiece. But I didn't really play it much. I didn't want to put Toad in either, but because I played Toad with kind of Hugo, I put that in. It was my honourable mention. Donkey Kong. It's a masterpiece. Not for me this year as such. Number 5 is back to me. My number 5, and I was and ahhing between this and Celeste, which way round. And I ultimately went with this. It is Inside. Obviously, I chatted about it on the podcast before. Another sort of indie masterpiece. The sort of atmosphere, the kind of everything about it. I thought it was absolutely incredible game from start to finish. And very rarely happens now where I just want to play a game and keep playing it, blitz it till the end. I very often just dabble in a few games, but I just wanted to get through it, and I absolutely loved it. And I sort of recommend this to anybody.
Yeah, I can't wait to play it. Can't wait to play it.
It is amazing. Greg, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Woo!
Now, I would say Donkey Kong Country would probably be a preferable game, but I've played through the entire of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker this year. Like, I did go through all of it 100% again, did all the Mummy Me Maze Forever stuff, collected everything. It's just like had such a joyous experience again, just the same as I had on Wii U. Brilliant game.
Yeah, an amazing game. And
well, you had that, Darren, didn't you? What number was it in your list?
It was number 10 on mine, and it's purely because I've played it before. So, and I didn't really want to put it at all. So
I'm going to shock you now. I played it only on Switch. I didn't play it before, and it's like my number 11. It's in one of my honourable mentions.
Okay, yeah, I realised it didn't make your top 10, Lee, which is kind of crazy. But then you put Into the Breach at 10, so anything goes with you, doesn't it? But did you love it, though? I'm guessing, I get a sense, Lee, although you clearly enjoyed it, I get a sense you were quite disappointed with it.
How did you guess that? I was slightly disappointed.
Yeah.
It was too easy in parts, and you breezed through a lot of the sections, and maybe because I was doing it in co-op with my son and he was helping out, and then all of a sudden you'd hit a brick wall where it was a little bit too difficult, and then the level of difficulty was just up and down. And most of the time, It was too easy. It was too down. And then all of a sudden, that high ramp it up to difficulty levels. Beautiful looking game, beautiful premise, beautiful kind of dioramas and all that, but slightly disappointed.
That's fair enough.
This is how I feel all the time, Lee. I've been praising Captain Toad loads and loads, so yeah, it's nice to hear a different perspective, I guess, even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong, yeah, exactly.
This is I'm finally seeing it from the other side.
Ridiculous. So what is your number 5, Lee?
My number 5 is Capcom Beat 'em Up. I have really, really enjoyed playing through. I still haven't played through them all. I've dabbled in all of them, but just playing Final Fight through on Capcom Beat 'em Up has been worth it.
Number 5, that is I mean, I always just presume Greg's list's going to be the mental list, but today you've surprised me, Lee. I'm not going to lie. Your list is bonkers. Capcom Beat 'em Up Collection is amazing, and I still think it's one of the best bargains you can get on the Switch. But
and I actually think it's on sale at the minute, isn't it?
Is it?
It's maybe only like £12 something.
Oh,
I think so.
then it's
Absolute
even
bargain.
Just pick it up. It's so much a bargain. I've enjoyed
still
it
have
so
it.
much.
And we can all play together. But yeah, great, awesome. Weirdly, I didn't put that as an honourable mention, and I don't know why. I think I know why. I think it's because I just looked through the games I'd finished this year, and I never put Capcom Beat 'em Up Collection. I put like Final Fight, and I probably just missed it. But that would be a definite honourable mention for me. Greg, we're getting to the tasty bits. What is your number 4?
Mario Tennis Aces.
It's higher for me.
Higher for you, okay. Now, I actually initially thought, earlier in the year, I thought this was quite possibly going to be my number 1. So the fact that it's down to 4 at the moment is...
Good end.
Yeah.
What's your number 4, Lee?
A shocker. You thought my list was shocking up to now. Well, I catch a load of this. Now, when I say the name of the game, you probably go, it came out earlier. But yes, it came out earlier, but it was updated and re-released because they've updated it so much, and it released in this updated
Minecraft.
state. Yeah, it is. On June 12th, 2018. It's Minecraft, the Bedrock Edition. Put so much time in with my son. What an experience to have with your child, and just going into this world and building whatever you want. Great fun.
You two are pushing the rules big time on this top 10. Okay, fair enough. Do you think the Bedrock Edition, the new one, was a big enough upgrade to count it as a new game?
They sold it. It's a separate game on the eShop, so yes.
Yeah, it's true. People have to re-download it. Okay, we'll give you it. So you love it that much? Do you think Minecraft is that good?
As if I was playing it by myself, no. But as an experience with a family member, yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, fair enough. Can't argue with that. My number 4... Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yeah, I was umming and ahhing between this and number 3. My number 4 is Civilization 6. What a game. If I played it more, it could be higher. It felt too low, how much I've loved what I've played. I put like 15, 20 hours in, but the game is ridiculous. I've not even finished one massive campaign yet, so... But it is incredible. It's everything I wanted it to be. It runs perfectly on the Switch. I love it. And if anybody likes strategy games, just get it. Just get it. It's brilliant. So yeah, number 4 for Civilization 6. Greg's next game purchase.
My next game...
No, I'm on about Civilization 6's. Yeah, no, you went first then. So it's Lee's turn.
Oh, we got to switch
Lee's
it.
number
Cool.
3. You went on 1 though, Greg.
My number 3, and it's a game I want to put more time in, but
Into
I've
the
been
Breach?
dragged away by something
Realised you made a
else.
mistake?
It was Diablo 3.
Bloody hell.
I've loved what I've played so far. It strikes the right balance between collectathon, between action. And Darren, we've played online, and you didn't grab you, did it?
Not fully. I mean, I played it in single player afterwards, and I enjoyed that more. And I've just not had. It's just too much going on. I still own it. I haven't sold it, but and I will give it another go. It didn't grab me. It felt a bit button mashy, but not in a kind of fun Capcom beat 'em up way. But it could be, once we start unlocking more stuff, I'm willing to give it another shot. But no, it didn't initially grab me. But you had that initial buzz for playing with your son, though, didn't you, as well?
Yes,
so
I did.
Kind of grabbed you more
immediately
instantly.
playing 2 players, and dropping into it and learning it through another player playing it as well, and he's playing a different class of character, so you're complementing each other. It's been great stuff together.
Number 3, wow. Is he still interested in the game?
Yes, he is. We're basically playing 3 games, Minecraft, Diablo 3, and obviously another one we'll talk about later.
What, Mario Tennis? Because higher up on my list, I know. Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. So that was your number
3.
3. Okay, my number 3. A sensible position for this game. Into the Breach. What a game. It's between this and Civilization, but ultimately I'd played Into the Breach more, and it had to be Into the Breach. I think Into the Breach is probably better than my number 2 as a game on its own, but the number 2 does some... Oh, we'll get there. So Into the Breach, we've chatted about it. Lee, I don't care what I think. No one cares what I think, to be honest. I think it's incredible. Why the flipping heck is it number 10 on yours? That's what I want to know.
Very similar to reasons you both given for other games, is that I just haven't put enough time into it. I've loved what I've played, and I need to put more time into it, and if I did, it would be higher. I should imagine. I think I've only cleared 1 island, and I've stopped after clearing that island before even starting the second island. I picked something else up. I think it was Diablo at the time. I need to put more
so
time
it's
in.
just like distracted. But there is something must be said about the fact that it's not grabbed you enough for you to dive
Get back
to want to
into
play
it, yeah.
But it is a game that builds as well. Like the more you play it, the more it kind of it's got a bit of momentum to it as well. But it wasn't disappointing after my massive build up. It's just things got in the way.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I'll forgive you.
A big game got in the way.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I love it. I want to put more time into it as well. I've finished it loads of times. I think it's great. So yeah, that is my number 3. What is your number 3, Greg?
My number 3 is one that neither of you will have on your list because you have both binned off your 3DS and missed out on the opportunity to play WarioWare Gold, which is a fantastic version of WarioWare. Probably one of the best ones in the series. Like you can do all the different things. You've got you can use like the touch screen, or you just use the D-pad and buttons for certain games, or you'll use the microphone for other games, and it's just got that typical WarioWare craziness, and it's brilliant. And you sort of know how it plays generally. Like you have your wee quick mini games, and you go through them, do that, beat a boss fight or whatever at the end. Really good. But you also have these other games in it, like I don't know if either of you have played Game & Wario, but it has like the Sneaky Gamer one in it where you're like 9-volt and you have to like hide under the covers whenever your mummy's coming in to like trying to like come through the door or looking through the window outside or whatever. That's in here. Or you've got like
that's a level on Smash Brothers, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yep. Yeah. Or you've got like there's one called Wario Watch where it's like each minigame you play like adds time to, like, you've got like a limited amount of time, so like if you fail minigames you lose time, and once the timer drops to 0 that's it, finished. So it's just like you beat the game, then it adds time. It's got all these different extra modes to play and stuff, and there's even like alarm clocks and stuff where like your alarm will go off like if you have your 3DS sitting and you have to like beat a game to be able to like turn the alarm off and stuff. It's crazy, it's brilliant.
So even though it's like a best of collection, it didn't feel like you've been there before, I've played this, I've done this. It still felt as amazing as it does it its best.
Yes, well, when you first played like the very first WarioWare game or whatever, you're sort of thinking immediately when you get a game and it's just like it flashes up on the screen what to do, most of the time it's like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Like it takes a few goes to sort of like figure out how to do things, and whenever things speed up it gets really intense. So like a lot of that surprise, I suppose, was taken away by knowing quite a lot of how to play most of these games, but there was still plenty of surprises there, and it does do a few things differently, especially whenever it starts mixing up between like doing a touchscreen game and then like going to the buttons and stuff. Like when it starts going at really high pace and you just have to figure out what buttons you're supposed to be using or whatever for each scenario, it really does ramp up the intensity. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I do want it, in all honesty. I do want it, but it's just because of the Switch. I just want to play that all the time. I'll pick it up in a sale, or maybe you'll get a port in the new year.
A port would be great news, yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
It would definitely need some tweaking because of obviously the microphone stuff.
Yeah,
but definitely need some sort of WarioWare on Switch.
We'll get one. I think we'll get. Like I said, we'll get a new one. I think it'll be no point kind of porting that too problematic anyway. But but I'll get it. I will get it. So my number two now. So my number 2 is Mario Tennis Aces. Like I said, I think in a weird way, like Civilization 6 and Into the Breach, they're kind of better games in kind of core ways. But I love tennis. I love tennis in real life. I love tennis games, and I genuinely believe this is the greatest tennis game, video game I've ever played. I think it's amazing. I think the 2 games in one. Well, it's sort of 3 tennis games in one. It's got the Wii Sports style tennis in it. It's got the crazy tennis, which is Mario Tennis. And it's the first time that I genuinely think the crazy tennis is really fun. Mm-hmm. Usually it's just gimmicky and pointless, and I don't like it. And I was like, I don't want this. But I think it's a genuinely fun, crazy tennis game. And the fact that you can strip all that away and just play normal tennis is amazing, and it is an amazing version of that. That's my favourite way to play Mario Tennis. Strip everything away, let's just play tennis. It's got sort of issues in terms of like customization and stuff on online, but ultimately the tennis game is amazing. Playing online is really good fun. I love the online tournaments. I love the fact that they're giving us characters. And I've put like nearly 50 hours into this game, so it's a game I've played a lot this year. And just the fact that we've got an amazing tennis game again. I can't remember. I like the 3DS one, but what was the last really great tennis game that we played? Probably Mario Tennis 64, if I'm being honest. I quite like Wii Sports Tennis, and stuff like that. But yeah, so I absolutely love it, and I think I feel really lucky that we've finally made a good one again. So, but he's on your list as well, Greg. So
yeah, it's absolutely one that you and me need to get back on and play a wee bit more, because we did have a couple of really great epic matches at points. And like, a lot of people still say like the single player stuff is really bare bones. For me personally, I got exactly what I wanted out of that single player like story mode thing. A lot of people want like all the RPG elements that they got in like some of the handheld games. I had never played any of the handheld games. For me, I got exactly what I wanted, and a few really fun challenges to play. Nothing too overbearing that's going to take like 20 or 30 hours to go through. It was just the perfect size for me, perfect amount to do, and I really enjoyed doing it, and it probably did help me improve some of my skills for the normal tennis.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely do need to play more, especially with doubles tournaments as well.
I think we could do some damage.
Oh, sorry. I wish the netcode was as good as Smash Brothers, and then I'd be playing it a lot more.
Yeah, because it obviously didn't make your list, Lee.
No, it was on 7. I got Mario Tennis Aces at 7.
Oh, okay. So it was on both of your lists. Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah, because we've played it a few times, and there's a little bit of lag there, wasn't there? But
and every game
when it
there's
works,
a bit of lag. When it works, it's exceptional. I play Japanese players and all that, and it's exceptional. But I always get hammered.
Oh, I mean, they're really good.
They're really good. The kind of quality of other players out there is phenomenal.
Yeah, that is a shame that we can't do that. That we can't play online properly. But yeah, great game, and bring on golf, bring on strikers, bring on the rest of the sports range, and hope they're as good as this. What is your number 2, Greg?
My number 2 is something I'm guessing is probably number 1 for maybe both of you guys. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
I may
the
have
fact
that
that's
higher.
your number 2 means I know what your number 1 is, and I'm just like, oh my god. Yes, it's a little bit higher on mine. Lee, what's your number 2?
Surprisingly, Super Mario Party.
Wow. Okay.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot that you brought that up. That didn't make your top 10, did it, Greg?
It's number 7.
Oh, it did make yours. Oh, it's both of our 7s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So go for it, Lee. Why was it so high on your list?
If you can look at my list, there's a lot of 2-player family games. I got Capcom Beat 'em Up, I got Minecraft, I got Diablo, and now Super Mario Party.
Family beat 'em ups. Diablo.
You love those family beat 'em ups on Christmas Day. Yeah, Super Mario Party is another one that if it was just me and my son, we sit down and we'd work through the river party mode, we'd work through a board, and even the partner party, which completely shook the rules up, is really, really enjoyable. But then when one of the nephews came across as well, and there were 3 or 4 players playing, it just added something to it. Never played it single player, and that helps when you've got someone playing it there with you.
Have you not tried Challenge Road?
Oh yes, but we'd pass the Joy-Con back and forth.
Okay.
We'd have one go each. So even in that kind of one-player mode, there's still both of us, and it's like you try once, I try once, and if you fail, we'll just pass it back and forth until we pass. So even that's been a multiplayer. Yeah, it's all been multiplayer.
Awesome.
It's been great.
So it's on your list, Greg, as well. What?
Yeah, it was like you sure it was number 7, and to be honest, it's probably the only game I've played local multiplayer in this year as well, because my wife, she enjoyed playing it with me as well. For me, it probably would be higher if it wasn't for the boards and the fact that the mini games feel almost irrelevant whenever you're playing the boards, because you only get some coins from them, and there's so many ways to get like coins when you're going through the board game itself. And the mini games need more. They need to have more emphasis in that mode, and that kind of just killed that mode for me, and it kind of makes me not want to play it. Like, obviously, all the mini games and all are great. Challenge Road was pretty fun as well to go through, as was like Partner Party and River Survival. It's just that fact that I know it could be better if they just tweaked a few things. It could be even more special.
Yeah, I'm surprised they've not done an update or announced. Surely they're going to release more boards and maybe even characters and stuff. Surely they do it with all their games.
The online's disappointing as well. Like, we haven't played it together yet, but the fact that there's only like 10 of the mini games like in circulation there for online, and like you can't even play the boards online or anything. There are just some things they could just. If they just changed it here and there, it would be definitely higher up on the list here.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it's brilliant. I think it is an amazing Mario Party. The reason it's so low on mine is because ultimately it's still just a Mario Party. And that, Celeste and Inside and the games above it are like, they're amazing games. So, but like Mario Tennis rose to highlight, I think if the boards were online, if there's a few more boards, and then I think it could have been higher up. But I still think it's amazing. I think it's, again, it feels like we're getting the best Smash, the best Zelda, the best Mario, the best Mario Tennis, it feels like the Switch is getting some amazing versions of it, and so Mario Party is, and it is really great fun. And I get your point with the weight of the mini games. Sometimes it has a big impact. Sometimes you feel as if it doesn't, and it's an easy fix. Just give us a bloody star. The most wins. It's easy. Yeah, great game. But number 2, I can sort of understand, because when I have played locally, it is amazing fun. It is amazing. If you're doing it a lot, it's like, that would be a dream. That would be a dream to do that a lot. But yeah, awesome. So, Lee, are we on to your... No, that was your number 2. Yeah, sorry. So the final number 1s, Greg, we all know what it is. Tell us why.
I don't think anybody was expecting it a few months ago. Dark Souls is my favourite game of the year, because it kind of just came out of nowhere for me. Like, I've known about Dark Souls for ages, and like I hear it being spoken about on podcasts and stuff, and like I was sick of hearing it. Like, you hear things like Soulsborne, all these games are like, I wish things were more Souls-like and stuff. It's just like, get a grip, like, because we've had difficult games before and stuff, and we'll have difficult games in the future. Not every difficult game has to be like Dark Souls or whatever. And like, we got the network test earlier in the year, and I jumped into it and played it for about 5 minutes and was like, nope, not for me. And then for some reason I just started watching a few wee videos of it and thought, you know what, it looks like a game, if I gave it a go, like I could maybe get into it, because the network test kind of just threw you in, and like I was dead within 2 seconds. Both times I tried it, didn't know what I was doing. So I thought, right, if I can start this from scratch and like sort of build up my knowledge of it and figure out what I'm doing here, there could be a game in here. Because I had actually been playing Bayonetta and was kind of getting like bored of just like the constant like thrashing and just mashing buttons and stuff. I thought I think I prefer a wee bit of a more structured combat and stuff, and that's exactly what I get with Dark Souls. You really have to think about what you're doing, and there's just so much pressure and tension throughout, and anytime you see like a different enemy, it's like, am I going to be able to deal with this? What are they going to throw at me? Are they going to kill me like within a couple of shots here? Am I going to be able to deal with this? And then obviously you do figure it out eventually, and then you build up that noise, and then you'll see another enemy, and it's like, right, you've got that same tension and stuff again every time. And whenever you see a big boss for the first time, you might die within a few seconds and hardly even touch their health bar, and you think, wow, this is going to be like really intense. So you build up your knowledge, and like eventually you figure out what you're doing and chip away at their health, and it's just, the whole thing is just like really satisfying, and it has really surprised me, and that is my game of the year.
And do you think you'll keep playing it as well? Because obviously it's meant to be ridiculous. Do you think you'll ever finish it?
I hope so. I'd say, I don't know how far through it I am. I'd probably say maybe about halfway at the moment, and I must be about 25 or 30 hours into it so far. I know it's probably going to be quite a long experience. The thing that's kept me back from playing it recently is we've obviously had the arrival of the new baby, and there's no pause button in Dark Souls. So obviously, like whenever you got a new child or whatever, like you maybe just need to, you're needed at the drop of a hat. So the fact that I can't just hit the home button or anything and just put this game aside for a second while I go and do something else, it's like I need to dedicate time to be able to get to like the next checkpoint in Dark Souls, because there's a lot at stake if you like lose all your souls and stuff from dying and whatever. So you really do need to concentrate on what you're doing, and you need to give it that time and like love and respect. So I do want to get back to it, but it's just getting that window of opportunity at the minute is really difficult, and I kind of don't want to leave it too long, because I don't want to be going back into this game cold, because I was really warmed up and like really into the flow of it and stuff, and I'm scared if I leave it for too long I'm gonna really start struggling with it again. Yeah,
fair enough. Dark Souls, has Greg's constant praise of this game tempted you, Lee?
It just reminds me a lot of the kind of things he said, with the tension building up and then learning a new enemy. It actually makes me want to go and pick up Monster Hunter Generations instead of Dark Soul. I get that kind of feeling from Monster Hunter as well, and that's something I do like. So maybe, but not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
I can't imagine. It's definitely not for everyone. Like I said, I didn't think it was going to be for me, but I gave it a go. I let it get its grip into me, and boy did it get its grip in. Like,
did it not open your mind up a little bit in terms of like dismissing games and think maybe I should give other games a go, like Dead Cells or procedurally generated levels or roguelike games? Does it make you think maybe?
In a way, yes, it's a really, really tricky one. Because the amount of times I've been burnt by games that I actually think, oh, I would like this, and people have been so praising it so highly, and then just to be burnt so many times and disappointed, it's like at our ages you kind of know what you like generally, but at the same time, if you keep going with what you like, you're not opening yourself up to the possibility of like being surprised by something like Dark Souls. So it's hard to know what to do sometimes.
Just go buy Dead Cells, see what it's like.
I don't think Dead Cells is for me.
If that's in a sale, I'm definitely going to pick it up. I'm eager to try it out. So, Lee, I'm guessing our number ones are the same.
Yeah, not much to add about it, but Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, yeah. It's been, I mean, it's only been out a couple of weeks, and it's blown me away, and I don't want to stop playing it. And it's another one that I play a lot co-op.
Yeah. But it is also good single player as well, if you wanted to play with us online. Yeah, obviously we chatted about it last week, we chatted briefly today. It's I've never been massive Smash player. I played the N64 one a lot because that's when I was at university. Never really played. I didn't play Melee that much. Bought Brawl, bought Wii U version. I've always wanted to get into them, but I never have. And this, I think, is amazing. I think, like we said, I think it is incredible. And all the other content around it is really good fun as well, which is different to other Smashes as well. So not only is it the biggest Smash, it's got all these characters, and it's, we're all Nintendo fans, and it is literally a fest for Nintendo fans, isn't it? So, and then on top of that, actually, all the other modes are really good fun. Classic mode is the best it's been. World Delight is fun in small doses, and yeah, I think it's great. And wouldn't surprise me if we topped out 200 hours when all's said and done on this one. Greg, obviously it wasn't your number one, but it was your number two, so you clearly agree with that.
Yeah, and maybe whenever I get more time into it, like maybe my opinion would have been different. Maybe it would have been, maybe it would have usurped Dark Souls at the top. But the amount I've played Dark Souls and I loved it, I can't really put Smash above it at this point.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think the fact that online works so well makes it easier to kind of put high as well.
Yeah, that's
like if online was awful, it's like I'm not going to play it too much online. It's not going to be, but ultimately it is obviously, like I say, it's only just come out, so you never know. We may end up hating it, but
I mean, it's even enticed my brother to buy it. Like, this is his first Smash Brothers title.
He's never played Smash.
Never played it before. It's not really his sort of game. Like, so I haven't really had an update on how he's getting on with it. But
so he did buy it.
Yep. But I'm interested to have a fight with him. That would maybe give me the opportunity to play some local co-op on it, or local versus or whatever.
Try Smashdown and Squad Strike.
Yeah.
Oh, I still can't believe they're not online. Yeah, the online needs to improve in terms of the options and modes, but that's another issue. But yeah, great game of the years, Smash Brothers and Dark Souls. Got it. What, a 6-year-old game and a 4-year-old game, but slightly updated from the Wii U. Yeah, awesome, good. So obviously, just before we leave, were there any honourable mentions? Obviously, we've chatted about a few. For me, it was Donkey Kong, a masterpiece of a game, but I hadn't finished it and I played it before. So, anything else for you guys?
Yeah, Gorogora. You mentioned it once on a podcast as well, Darren. Didn't quite make my top 10 because brevity of it, and it was really good while it lasted. There was a couple of puzzles which didn't quite fit together well, but it's beautiful game. Well worth the asking price, which wasn't a sale, and well worth playing through.
That would have made my top 10, but it didn't come out this year.
I thought it was this year.
No, it was the end of last year. I think it was like December or something like that last year. Otherwise, that would have definitely made my top 10. That was in my basically games I played this year. Would have made my top 10, but I couldn't. Doom was the other one I played that this year.
Which is definitely 2018 is Dragon Ball FighterZ. That surprised me as well. Just because I wasn't expecting anything along the lines of how good it was. Greg mentioned like the tag team kind of thing, and the way it fluidly folds between that 2D action and then flipping around as you smash someone through a volcano or whatever for a final hit. It's been fun, but it's a game I'd like to play more.
Yeah, fair enough. Any for you, Greg?
There's just a couple for me. There's one that came out there recently. Like, if you're a fan of like old school racers, like Top Gear and stuff, like Horizon GS Turbo is a pretty solid option there. Because obviously we're quite limited with racing games on the Switch. But I know you were sort of hemming and hawing about getting Outrun. If you're not getting Outrun, I would say could do a lot worse than giving Horizon Chase Turbo a go. But you have it on the iPad, and like the experience is pretty similar. And honestly, there is all this extra stuff on the Switch version. But if you're content with the iPad version, then fair enough. If there was a sale on the Switch version, go for that.
Oh, I think I would. Yeah, I think I would. Yeah.
Another honourable mention I want to give is a game I actually got a review code for like really early in the year, and I haven't really played it since then. But I know you like the really tight platforming of Celeste and stuff. There's another game. It's not a platformer as such, but it kind of reminds me of Celeste in a way, I guess, and that is Atomic Run Gun Jump Gun, which was it's a downloadable title.
It's quite a cheap one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably about £5 or £6 or something. I'm not sure. Don't even know if it's been on sale or anything. But it's basically you go through like all these different levels, and they're increasingly difficult. Like does get almost impossible towards the end, and you're just like this guy with like a gun, and you can shoot the gun forwards, or you can shoot the gun like underneath you, and when you're shooting underneath you, that sort of like propels you upwards. So you're just sort of trying to like, if you've played like any of the rocket barrel levels in the Donkey Kong games, where you're like just trying to keep the
like feathering the buttons sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like that in Cave Story as well, if you've ever played that.
Yeah, so you're basically just trying to navigate through these like increasingly difficult like sections, and filler in between, like trying to get the right height and being able to shoot things in front of you as well. Really, it was really good fun. Like it surprised me earlier in the year.
Fair enough. I have one more, and this almost made my top 10, and I'm kind of thinking I wish I'd knocked Toad out because I've played Toad before, and that is Bomb Chicken. Bomb Chicken, amazing game, and that was so close to getting in. There's a lot of good indies this year. So yeah, so Bomb Chicken didn't make it, but I would recommend it to anybody for that one. There was a couple of games that I played on other platforms that would have made my top 10. No, they probably wouldn't. One of them would. Monument Valley 2 would. Amazing. I don't know if you've played Monument Valley or Monument Valley 2.
That's really interesting, because I think I saw it on sale recently, and Monument Valley is one of probably the only mobile games I've played really. And it was all right. Yeah, it was decent. The first one.
All right.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is. So
look at it. It could easily work on Switch as well.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if they ported it to Switch. But Monument Valley 2 is amazing. I love these. I love them. And the other one, which probably will come to Switch, is The Room 3. Because The Room came out for the Switch. Yes. Brilliant game.
Reasonable price as well.
No,
it's
I
like
don't
£6 or something like that.
Oh, it's great, but considering how cheap it is on mobile.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, it should be like £6 for all three of them. Maybe I'm being a bit entitled, but £6 felt expensive. Like £2 or £3, I think would be. I think it's $2.99 on the iPad. That's the same. It should be that price. It's the same game, but it's Horizon conversation all over again, isn't it? But I mean, that's because I've played it before. It's worth £6, I guess. But it just compared, it just feels a bit cheeky. Great, I love the Room games. And Room 3, I played through that this year, and that's brilliant as well. Disappointments, worst game. I don't know how you want to word it, but let's end on a downer. What is the biggest disappointment or the worst game of the year for you, Lee?
Disappointment, not a worst game, but the disappointment. I think that the worst thing I can think of. I can think of many bad games like Rage in Peace and all that, which I could go on about all year. But the most disappointing thing was the NES, Nintendo Switch Online SP games.
Yeah.
And the wasted potential. And the things we talked about, Darren, when you were on about the Neo Geo games, is it? Where they got you play through the level and you can just jump in.
SNK.
Yeah, SNK. Sorry, yes. That kind of wasted potential. And what they've done with them is, well, it's ridiculous. It's so disappointing. It just never going to touch them. Yeah.
Safe, yeah, it is disappointing. NES Online, great. I can't believe I didn't put one of the NES games in my top 10 games of the year. Damn it, ice hockey.
I've been playing Ninja Gaiden recently. It's been good.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good. Greg, what's your biggest disappointment?
My biggest disappointment, I suppose,
life.
I suppose it's difficult to put it as a disappointment when it's actually in my top 10 of the year, but we've already sort of discussed why. That's Super Mario Party, because I was expecting to love it even more than I did. And
fair enough.
That was just heartbreaking, I guess.
Yeah. No, I can kind of understand that, because sometimes the things you want to love more is a bigger disappointment than things you sort of you're not that bothered about. No, I kind of understand that. And bits of it were disappointing, so that's fine. And my biggest disappointment, Pokemon.
You haven't got into it, no?
No, I've never got into Pokemon. I bought it when it first came out in the 90s. I felt as maybe I was the wrong age. I was a college student, and I don't know. Although not really, I loved kind of stuff like that. But anyway, I didn't like it then. I've tried when they released the Red and Fire Leaf or whatever it was, Leaf Fire Red and Leaf Green. Tried that, didn't get into it. I don't like RPGs. This is the problem. I need to realise this. I don't like RPGs. And I played this one, and it started off, and I was like, well, there's a lot of the things they've done about it. I like the basic stripping out RPG elements. And I was like, oh, that's good. I don't have to, no random battles, none of this, none of that. That's good. But I still don't really like it. And what's made it worse is that I was playing it with Hugo, and it's clearly Hugo doesn't really like it either. It's too cumbersome. You have to click too many buttons. It's just like, it's so cumbersome. And I find RPGs cumbersome anyway, and it's so cumbersome. It's like, oh, really? And I don't like when you play Smash Brothers and you get a spirit and you have a fight and it upgrades 4 and it goes chunk straight to 4, like bang, it's been upgraded 4 levels or 10 levels or 20 levels and it's done. Pokemon upgraded to level 19, another click, upgraded to level 20, click, upgraded to level 21, click. It's really frustrating, and it's just like I just don't like it, and I don't care. I'm done. I've given up on Pokemon. When they've simplified it this much and it still bores me this much, then I am not gonna buy the next Pokemon. I'm not gonna buy any more remakes or anything like that. Saying that, I'm gonna keep playing it and I'm gonna finish it on my own. It's disappointing because I really thought this could be the Pokemon game, to get me into it and make me realise that this is really good fun. But it's done is made me realise why I don't like Pokemon and why I don't like RPGs. And however much I look at Project Octopath and I'm like, oh my god, it looks beautiful. I want to love Project Octopath. I know I'll hate it. Same with Xenoblade. Same with Bravely Default. Good, because they're 100 hours each, so at least that's a good thing. But yeah, Pokemon, my disappointment of the year. Awesome. Is there anything else? Any notable mentions in any way, shape or form? Or
Xenoblade 2 could have made mine, but that released in 2017 December. It wasn't until actually 2018 I started playing it. But that's another honourable mention. I did like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I did finish it.
Would it have made the top 10 if it came out this year?
Yes, it would have. And then that means Into the Breach would have been kicked out, Darren.
May as well have done. You don't deserve Into the Breach.
The only thing I would have to say is my most played game of the year is probably Rocket League. I haven't played it as much in the last couple of months really, but the first half of the year I put loads of time into that.
If the Switch had a good log system like the 3DS, which it should have, Nintendo, then we'd know very easily which one we've played the most of the year. It's probably Rocket League for me too. Maybe Mario Tennis.
Mine's probably Minecraft.
Do you still play it all the time then? Still?
It comes and goes. As another game comes in, so Diablo's come in and we play a bit more of that, but it's always there in the background, It's always there. At least once every fortnight we'll dip into it.
It doesn't get
maybe
boring.
More. No. I got plenty of things to be building. Thank you very much.
Are you tempted by the Fortnite building mode?
No.
Okay. That's fair enough. That was not the biggest disappointment of the year, but that's... I mean, I don't know about how to word it, but that's... There's some games I play. I play Pokemon, and I kind of get why people love it. The Pokemon themselves and the capturing, great. I love the collecting bit. I play some games, and I'm like, why do people like this? Fortnite is one of those games. I play it, and I'm just like, what is it about the game? It controls bad. It's I don't get it. I do not understand that game. The Battle Royale idea is amazing.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Everything about it, it's just like, don't know.
Did you try the gyro controls on the Pro Controller?
Can't even remember. Can't remember.
In Splatoon, you kind of you move it around and it's very intuitive. The gyro controls. In Fortnite, you have to twist it at this weird angle to zoom in and out. It's messed up. It's unplayable in gyro.
Yeah, I'm sort of at the point where I might just delete it because I don't play it, and just to get rid of the icon on the Switch. Just
don't even want to look at it. I guess just before we go, I'm going to throw this on you. We never chatted about this, so I was going to throw it on you. But next year is obviously looking amazing for Switch. For what we want, Nintendo games. What is the one game next year that you're most excited about? And then you can cheat. It can be a game that realistically could come out but hasn't been announced, if you wanted. What excites you most for 2019?
I don't think it's coming out in 2019. So I would have said
Metroid
Prime 4, but I don't think it's coming out in 2019. But we'll talk about that next week anyway. So a game... I'm really... And right now, I'm really looking forward to Luigi's Mansion 3.
Okay, that's fair. Are we chatting about it next week?
Yeah.
Have we got like a preview, 2009 preview?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is kind of pointless, but let's do it anyway.
I don't know when we're recording that one, to be honest, because Boxing Day's not happening, lad.
We do it late, whenever.
So Luigi's Mansion, that's fair enough. What about you, Greg?
Likely, I probably would have said Metroid Prime 4. If the trilogy gets released next year, then that'll probably be the one that I'll be most excited for. But from what we know so far, Resident Evil 4 maybe. Really itching to play that one again.
I'm eager to play that again. I've got to see Animal Crossing. Got to.
You don't have to.
Well, I don't have to. I want to. I think what it could be, what they could do with it, taking it further, they need to move it on. Is there's a lot of potential in that series. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with it, and hopefully it's not just the same thing again. We'll see, but that's the one I'm most excited about, I reckon. But yeah, awesome. That was as good and long as always.
That's what my wife says.
Yeah. And on that, we'll chat next week maybe if we can find the time over the Christmas period. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for listening to the Nintendo Review Podcast. If you like our content, please don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and ask us a question. You can find this very podcast on all good podcast providers such as iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Just search for the Nintendo Review Podcast. We are also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, YouTube, and our very own website, nintendoreview.co.uk, where you'll find great content such as news, reviews, and impressions. Drop by and say hello. Podcast extras! Podcast extras! Katamari Damacy!
Darren zoned out. I'm skeptical.
Shocker. Oh, God. Lee, was your kid a dickhead at 3? But ultimately, kids are just annoying, is that what you're saying?
I teach him, aye. Weapon shop de Omase! Katamari Damacy! Yep. Nice one. Can you hear that beeping? Yeah. Living in a city. Anyway, carry on. I'll bleep that out. Katamari Damacy! And why? Nice one, ambulance. Mine. Wait there, sorry. What's that? Katamari Damacy!
Katamari Damacy.